Welcome to Real Talk, Real Wellness with Alicia. I'm Alicia, a woman's holistic wellness practitioner, and this is where we get real about what it truly means to be well, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, ladies, this episode really came to me from being at home over the weekend. And you know when you really got nothing to do, but like that rare occasion when you've got really nothing to do. So I was there pottering around, doing my thing. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. I was sitting there, I had a cup of tea, and I was listening to some stuff. It was sort of background noise on YouTube, nothing deep. And then this video came on, and I think it was a man called James Croft. I can't remember his name. I should have written it down. That would have been a good idea. Anyway, he was talking about the power of words, and saying things like words can change your life. The language you use matters, and how you speak to yourself matters, and how you speak about yourself matters. And I was like, yeah, of course, I agree 100%. You know, I've always agreed with that. That's not new to me. You know, I think we all know words matter, don't we? I think we all know how powerful they can be. What you say to yourself, what you repeat, and you know what we internalize. Anyway, but then he brought this research project into the conversation. The Global Consciousness Project, it's called. And that was where he lost me, to be honest. He lost me. It just didn't line up. The project he was talking about didn't really relate to what he was saying about the power of words. It felt like two different conversations being mashed together. Anyway, that's the kind that's unimportant. What mattered more was that it put me into that curious mode. You know when something doesn't quite make sense, but instead of dismissing it, you think, let me look into it a little deeper myself. So that's exactly what I did. I looked into the project a bit more, and it still didn't really make sense to me as to why he had brought it into what he was trying to explain about words. However, through doing that research, I started to come across other research, and this is where things sort of click for me. What I started seeing was research showing that we affect each other, not just emotionally, but physically and biologically. There's research around something called the interpersonal synchrony, basically showing that when people are present with each other, their bodies start to line up. You know, heart rhythms can align, breathing can align, brain activity can align. You see it with mothers and their babies. You see it with close friends. You see it with couples. You see it with women sitting together, talking, listening, feeling safe with each other, being in community with each other. Um, and when I read that, I thought, well, yeah, of course, because I already know this. I I feel this already. And this is the bit that really excites me now. Science is now catching up with what indigenous ancient healing systems have already and always understood, that we are not separate, we are not islands, we influence each other all the time, consciously and unconsciously. This is where things like epigenetics comes into it. The understanding that our environment affects us, and the environment isn't just food or stress or toxins. Environment is people too. The people around you, the emotional tone you live in, the nervous systems you're constantly interacting with. That affects how you feel, how much energy you have, how resilient you are, how well you cope. And that's not woo woo stuff. It's rooted in biology. And this is where I want to bring it back to us as women. We talk a lot about healing ourselves, and that's important, yes, but we don't talk about, or at least we don't talk enough about how much we heal each other. When you sit with someone and you just feel calmer in their presence, or when someone really listens to you and you feel your body just relax, your shoulders just drop, tension just leaves you, or when you leave a conversation feeling lighter, even though nothing practical has changed. That's not in your head. That is your nervous system responding to another nervous system. And we have that capacity to support, to soothe, to regulate, just by how we show up in each other's lives. As I said before, you see it with mothers and children, with close friends, with women. Sometimes even women's cycles start to align. We've all had that, right? Women coming together and their cycles start to match. You start to be in rhythm with each other. If we can do that, imagine what else we can do. However, it is important that we know that this only sort of works well when we also know ourselves. Because if you don't understand your own nervous system, you can just as easily absorb someone else's stress, someone else's anxiety, someone else's overwhelm. So when we think about wellness, And we know that wellness is about connection. That's an aspect of wellness, connecting with people. It's also important to understand that it's not just about connecting with people, it's about conscious connecting with people. It's about consciously knowing how you want to show up in somebody's life and the impact you want to have on their life, unconsciously and consciously. I was talking with my husband today, and we were talking about what it means when you are intimate with somebody. It's yes, it's a physical pleasure, but there is healing involved in that too. Not through necessarily the physical act, but the aligning of each other's energies. If someone walks into that physical activity with the intention of healing, with the intention of loving and supporting, imagine the impact you are unconsciously having on your partner. And like I said, science backs this now. So we are powerful in each other's lives when we want to show up with intention, with intention to support and care for and truly love. This is love in action. Okay? Anyway, it's nice, to see that science is finally backing this up. What we have already known, what I speak to women about all the times, many women have already known, that we are a powerful group of beings, and we are, like I said, we're not islands, we are not alone. We can look to each other for healing and support. I think I also mentioned today to my husband, that Reiki healing, energy healing, that's part of that process, or that understanding that we are using a energy to heal. When it comes to Reiki, you're using almost like your body as a tool for this healing energy to pass through and pass on to somebody else. But I know within that you are also an aspect of the healing that is taking place. You are a part of that healing. I can't remember who I was talking to the other day about massage. It was one of my friends. She was saying she's got one of these massage things that sits on your neck and it just massages your neck. And she was like, it's amazing, and I was saying to her, but there is nothing like having someone massage you. These tools are great. I have one. But there is nothing like feeling somebody massage you. And it's not just the act of them massaging you. It's the systems aligning. That person is there with the conscious understanding that she's there to help you feel relaxed, to soothe you, to calm you. So her system is in that zone, and now your system is in that zone through the physical act of her massaging you, but also through the energy exchange that is happening. Anywho, before you go, I want to leave you with a few gentle journal prompts to sit with and just to reflect on, if you've got a minute or two. So let's go through them. Journal prompt number 1. Who in my life makes me feel calmer by being around them? Number 2. When do I feel most myself with others? Number 3. Is that number 3? It might be. It's number 3 or 4, guys. I can't remember. I'm sorry. Where do I need clearer boundaries to protect my energy and my nervous system? Okay. So ponder on those for a minute. Write things down and see how that looks and feels. Resonate. Take what resonates from this episode and leave the rest. And if this episode feels like something you want to share with somebody, please do. And until the next episode, oneness, wholeness, and peace.